listeners, to another episode on the Mindful Journey podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always. Now, this is going to be a very interesting conversation because we'll be talking about food and then we'll be also diving deep into someone's journey where, you know, it's been a lot, and I'll come to that. But before that, I just want to say that food has always been more than just fuel for us. For many of us, it's memory, childhood memories, or nostalgia, it's culture, it's even comfort. But just imagine, what if food could be a medicine? Something that doesn't just fill us, but it heals us, energizes us, and clears the fog that life sometimes places in our minds. Now, in a world where we often run on caffeine, fast meals, and stress, returning to something as simple and profound as plants can feel radical. So, today on the Mindful Journey, listeners, we are diving into this conversation with someone who knows transformation inside and out. DK Kang, he's the author of The Mindset Metamorphosis. He's a traditional martial artist and even a Spartan ultra finisher. He's a practitioner who blends movement, faith, and mindset, using tools like breathwork, morning rituals, and most important, gratitude to help others rewire how they face adversity. So, together we'll explore how food as medicine, especially plant based living, can bring energy, healing, clarity into our daily lives. And we'll also explore how DK follows the rituals through, how he applies all the insights and learnings into his daily life as well. So, with that, DK, welcome to the show, and it is really an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be a guest on your show. Thank you.
Super. Okay, DK, so, um, you know, we are seeing a lot of people talking about plant based living. Now, many people, they come across this or come to plant based living through struggle, illness or burnout or just feeling like they're disconnected from their body. So, when you look at your journey, um, how exactly you came to know about this? I mean, what was your turning point where food stopped being just food and it became medicine for you?
Um, well, I mean, it kind of started kind of way back when I was a child, probably. So I grew up eating a Korean diet, which is a lot of vegetables, fermented foods. But really, when I was about 12, so my parents owned a restaurant
Hmm.
my entire life. And so being at the restaurant always, my parents always had access to, soda pop.
Oh.
And so as a kid, I drank so much soda. And then when I was about 12, so I started, I did martial arts since I was 5. I still do it to this day. But I was kind of doing an experiment on myself when I would, when I was training, like, I would go run. And because I drank so much soda, I wanted to test out how that would affect my body when I stopped drinking it, and then I work out without drinking soda. So I did an experiment where I drank soda and then I ran 3 miles, and I felt very sluggish, I felt very thirsty, and just very tired when I did that. But then the next day when I didn't drink any soda and ran the same 3 miles, I felt so much better. I felt lighter, more energy. And so ever since then, I have not drank any soda since I was 12 till this day. Because that for me, I wanted to feel good and I wanted to perform better in my training. And so that led me to today where in 20, well, the end of 2023, my wife gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And so for us, we decided to learn about cancer, who's been there, who's healed from it. So we read this book called Chris Beat Cancer, and he talks about a lot about the plant-based diet and how a plant-based diet can it has all the minerals, the nutrients to heal from cancer. And because of the American diet, which is called the standard American diet, it's basically the sad diet because it's a lot of fast foods, a lot of sugary drinks like Starbucks, and like a lot of processed foods. And so we wanted to get away from the processed foods, even like red meat. Red meat is a uh, inflammatory marker, and with inflammation, that can cause a bunch of different diseases, along with cancer and autoimmune diseases. So after we read that book, we decided to go completely plant based to heal us, but also from my experience, it gave me more energy. But I also, because I'm also always training, doing Spartan races and martial arts, my body is always hurting. And so my recovery process was a lot better with the plant-based diet, as well as my wife going through chemo treatments. And so she was able to recover better with the plant-based. So that was kind of my journey.
Very interesting, DK. Very interesting. And in your, book, and your practices, it they show how mindset and resilience shaped your life. So of course, I mean, it's a quite an interesting journey where actually food became a part of your healing story. And I think so many people can relate to that because food often becomes medicine when life kind of pushes us to pay attention to it differently. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's very interesting, DK. And I mean, now let's talk about martial arts and endurance events as well, because you have trained your body through them. How did your journey with plant-based living affect your physical and mental endurance? Like one of the example about that soda pop that you gave, that was really, really a good one. But um, more of a recent one. Like, were there moments where you noticed a clear difference?
Yeah, so I did a uh, in 2024, like October of 2024. So at this point, I've already been full plant based. I did a Spartan race, which I did the 21K, the 10K, and a 5K all in 2 days while being on a plant based diet. And so for me, um, I felt like because I mean there were days where I was running 15 miles, 20 miles. I don't know how many miles or kilometers that is converting wise, but
Mhm.
I was doing a lot of training, but I also felt that with the plant-based diet, my recovery time wasn't as long, um, for those long training periods. I feel like I would bounce back really quick, aside from my previous diet. I mean, I ate pretty lean anyway growing up. Like I ate lean meat, like chicken breast and things like that, and a lot of vegetables. So my body was already kind of accustomed to almost a full plant base.
Mhm.
But for me, yeah, the recovery time was a lot quicker. I wasn't hurting as much. Like my joints weren't hurting all the time. Um, Muscular wise, it was also recovery time. But another thing that we kind of incorporated was fermented foods. I don't know if you're familiar with kimchi.
Yes, I am. Yeah. But
Yeah, so it's a Korean traditional dish. I actually have a cookbook called the Kimchi Connection Cookbook, and it deals with how kimchi is connected to our gut health, and then our how our gut health is connected to our brain health, and how those two go together. Let's say you're eating a bunch of sweets, like sugary things, sugary drinks like Starbucks or eating processed foods, and that goes into your gut. But your gut is about 70% of your actual immune system. And so there's a huge connection between your gut and your brain. And with fermented foods, the fermented foods actually help with like the probiotics and building that microbiome in the gut for for a healthier gut and healthier brain for function, clarity. And so, yeah, I mean, with training and the plant based, I feel like I'm not for me, I'm not gonna go back because, there's other documentaries. There's a documentary called Live to 100,
Mhm.
and it's basically people it's called, blue zones where people are living, past, 100 years old, where there's no disease, there's no cancer, and a lot of it is their diet and has to do with, like, the plant-based diet. And
Mhm.
so that's a good resource for someone to check out. Another resource, if you're an athlete like me, was the Game Changers documentary. And it's the parallels of plant based diet with athletic performance. And so for me, I'm an athlete, so I want to perform better and, be able to go the distance for a long run or a long journey. And so, um, for me, and faith is a big part. The Bible talks about, uh, run a race as if you're going to win the prize, and everybody trains in that race. It's the same. I'm on a lifelong journey, whether it be my food, whether it be my physical um, strength. And so, yeah, for me, it's a long journey, and yeah, I want to be able to live to 100.
I love that. I really, that's very, very inspiring. And it's not only about the longevity, but living healthily. So that's really fascinating because the body, it becomes a mirror for these choices, and it's not only just energy, but it's a whole different way of showing up to the challenges in front of us. S- That's very inspiring, again. Um, and once again, I would like to bring in the importance of food in your healing journey, in you and your wife's healing journey. Like, did you face pushback either from yourself or from others, like when you embraced food or plant-based living? And if yes, then how did you work through it?
Um, yeah, I mean, when you kinda go against what everybody else is doing, yeah, I mean, get some pushback, but for me, I think, uh, I'm they're not in my shoes. They're not like, most people aren't training as hard as I am. Most people that I know aren't going through a cancer diagnosis. So for me, it was like, I need to do what is beneficial for me and my family and for my wife. So, um, I mean, everyone's always going to have opinions. Everyone's always going to push back and ask, why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. But after doing so much research, I mean, we read so many nutrition books. We read books about the Rainbow Diet. Is a book called The Rainbow Diet. Chris Beat Cancer. Um, there's another book called Beating Cancer with Nutrition, and a lot of it talk about a plant-based diet and why we should be on a plant-based diet to heal from cancer, but also to prevent cancer because everything is so processed and everybody wants quick meals. And so with those quick meals, like McDonald's or all the processed foods in the grocery stores, uh, there's no nutrition in there. And so for us, we're like, we need to do what we need to do, then not, and kind of almost ignore what people are telling us to do. Because I mean, we did the research, so and so, they're just telling us based on their opinion. And I'm like, well, that's your opinion. Tell me the science behind it. Tell me the reason why. And all these other books that we're reading, it's science backed, and I mean, it made sense to us. And honestly, we felt amazing. I mean, my wife felt great while going through chemo because when you're going through chemotherapy kills good cells, bad cells, everything, and it's like a nuclear bomb goes off in your immune system for your entire body. And and so for her, it was like there were times where she's like, "Yeah, I'm tired." But I'm like, "Yeah, but we need to continue to eat this plant-based diet for energy purpose and to heal from basically from cancer."
Of course. Yes. Oh, and yeah, and I think I absolutely relate with this because when we're trying to change our diet, it's not always smooth. So I think with your journey in there and these moments, I think listeners specifically who are actually looking ahead to change their diets, uh, and how you navigated the doubts, kind of kind of gives them that satisfaction or that relief to face their own as well. Um, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. But, like, changing your diet, um, y you gotta start small. You can't just, like, go all in. I mean, for us, we did because it was a life and death situation. If we didn't change our diet, the end result would be more chemo treatments, and it would lead to death for us. So, yeah, so, I mean, kinda I would say kinda assess what you need to do, like, personally. Your audience, sometimes it might be just adding just one little vegetable or one little fruit in your diet, doing that daily consistency with consistency. It'll start changing your diet, and you'll start seeing, "Oh, I do feel different. I don't feel sluggish, and I have more energy that I can go out for a walk, or I can go out for a run." And so, yeah, I mean, start small, but for us, it had to be it had to be this or this, and we had to choose this way with plant-based because it was a life and death situation.
Oh, and before we conclude, DK, looking back on your journey, how do you see food connecting with your other practices like, martial arts, breath work, or gratitude? Is it the foundation or the fuel or part of something bigger you have built?
Uh, I think it's all the above. We thrive on the foods that we eat. There's a saying that, you are what you eat. If you're eating junk food, if you're eating processed foods, that's what you become. And then that's, you become sluggish if you're eating those foods. But for me, like the food, it goes in all areas of your life. Because I know if I don't fuel myself, I'm not mentally prepared for those life challenges.
Yeah.
Um, you know, thinking about, gratitude, like I'm grateful for like the meal in front of me. My wife and I, we always pray before a meal just to have gratitude for that.
Mm.
Um, Mindfulness, that plays a big role in it. Like we live in a society where everything is fast paced. Everything is, I need to check my email. I need to check social media. I need to scroll through social media. I need to check the news. But when do we stop and just sit down at a meal instead of eating a meal while checking email or standing and working through our lunch? Instead of like doing that, why don't we actually sit back, enjoy the meal, chew 20 times to actually like get the food down so small that where you swallow it, your digestive system can actually digest the food. And so, yeah, mindfulness is a big, like mindful eating. That's a big part, like mindful breathing. How often do we, that's a automatic response is breathing, but we can also control our breath. And so, when you're thinking about like, you're doing some sort of exercise, like a cardiovascular workout, like martial arts is cardiovascular, Spartan race is running, that's cardiovascular. You have to train your body to learn how to breathe right. Because when you try to push yourself way too far or too fast, you're gonna start huffing and puffing, and you just can't breathe very good. And so, yeah, like all that, it all encompasses together and the end result is wellness, like a whole wellness from your mental health, from your physical health, and you know, like I said, we live in a fast-paced world. Like, how often are we? The Bible talks about be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. That's Psalm 46:10. How often are we being still? How often are we being mindful of what we're eating? How often are we being mindful of our breath work? And so, yeah, it just everything is all connected.
It's very well explained, Deepak. And I think it's a very, very vital question in there that you have left for our listeners to, kind of do a small self introspection. And of course, if our listeners they would like to connect with you, what should be the best way?
Best way to connect with me, you can go to my website, dkkang.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I send out a weekly newsletter just about wellness and resiliency and just trying to be better. My books are on Amazon, Mindset Metamorphosis and the Kimchi Connection Cookbook. The Kimchi Connection Cookbook is actually under my actual full name, which is DK Kang. So don't get confused with that. Both DK and DQ are me. So
Yeah. Yeah, of course, of course. I'll make sure to have all the details in the show notes. Take care for our listeners, and thank you so much for bringing your journey and wisdom to the mindful journey, DK. And this was really, really such a such much needed and very, very heartwarming conversation. Thank you.
thank you.
Super. So, listeners, what I love about DK's story is that it reminds us that food isn't just about nutrients; it's about narrative. It's about how we heal, how we grow, and how we find clarity when life tests us. So, thank you to everyone for devoting your precious time to this episode on the mindful journey. Um, and until then, I leave you all today with curiosity for what's on your plate and compassion for the path you are walking. Thank you.